We're going to do some of my favorite exercises that I use with every single one of my drum students, from beginner to advanced to intermediate. Everybody uses these exercises, and they're probably sick of these exercises, but this is what it's about: controlling your drumsticks and controlling your hands. For the most part, singles and doubles. People talk about paradiddles: right, left, left, right, left. 2 singles and then a double. It's very few times you're going to play 3 rights, 3 lefts, 4s, 5s, 6s on one hand. We'll talk about doing some of that stuff, but for the most of the exercises that you're going to work on are going to be based off of singles and doubles. The first one I do with all my students, this is like lesson 1 that I do with everybody, is doing, we'll think of it 2 ways: 1/8 notes to 16th notes, or we'll do quarter notes to 1/8 notes. That's how I'll start it for anybody that's a real beginner, somebody that's, you know, just getting the grasp on musical notation and terminology of quarter note, 1/8 note, basic rhythm patterns. So your quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your 1/8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll do it just on my own, and then I will pop on my Boss Dr. Beat metronome. Metronome's key to have. It is a great teacher because it doesn't lie. Unless the battery's dying on you, it's not going to change speeds, so you're either slow with it or fast. There's no human error with it. It's going to be dead on, and it's frustrating because sometimes you think you're with it, and all of a sudden you can feel that you're not playing with it. So we'll talk about doing the Dr. Beat, or just your basic metronome. It doesn't have to be a Dr. Beat. It can be any $20 metronome that you can find at your local music store or any of the catalogs that you guys shop at. So enough with that. Let's get on to the actual exercise. So we're going to do quarter notes to 1/8 notes. I'm right-handed. I'm going to do right hand lead, just starting with my right hand. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you can think of it as 1/8 notes to 16th notes, which is usually how I try and get my students at first to think about it. It just works out better as you're counting. We're going to go like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You do it left hand too, and you should practice starting with your left hand. And we're going to talk about some left hand lead exercises that are going to help to develop your left hand. So if I throw my Dr. Beat on, I've got a click of 120 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1/8 notes to 16th notes, same exercise, just counting it different. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or if we go off of this, I can change this on the Dr. Beat, which is nice. If you can find a metronome that can give you your subdivisions, fantastic. So now that 120, I'm dividing it into my 1/8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now what I like to do with the students is get to the point where you can get somewhat of a fast, you know, for a beginner student, this is fast, repetitive motion where all the strokes are at a good tempo and they're not, you're not speeding up and slowing down. So once the students can get to like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and, then I like to extend it to a full measure of 1/8 notes, full measure of 16th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and And then you just go from there. Once the students get that down and get faster, go from there. Double that. Just make it 2 measures of eighth notes, 2 measures of 16th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and on and on and on. The whole idea is developing your endurance for this exercise. When I was in 5th grade and started drums, and we learned our single stroke exercise, and the drum teacher was like, okay, here's your single stroke roll. It's just rights and lefts. I would go home and I'd go as fast as I could, and within 30 seconds my arms were on fire, and that was it. My arms hurt, and I was like, okay, that's good. I'm going to get really fast by the end of the week. And when I get to my drum lesson on Friday, I'm going to be rocking. And I would go in and I would try and do that, and he'd be like, great, now can you do that for a minute? And I was like, a minute? I can do it for 30 seconds. What do I need to do it for a minute for? So doesn't work that way. You're just going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your arms. You're going to hurt your tendons just by trying to play as fast as you can without warming up. What you want to do is take it as a sprinter trying to get faster, or a long-distance runner. They're not going to just, training for a marathon. You're not going to go out and try and run a full marathon. You're going to run, if you've never run before, you're going to run a half a mile. Then you're going to try and run 1 mile. And you're just going to keep adding and adding and adding until you can kind of get to that spot where you want to get to, whatever your tempo is, whatever the length of time you want to do it. I used to sit down, and I still do it, watching baseball games or basketball games or any kind of sport game where you don't have to really pay too much attention to the commentary, is do 5 minutes of singles, 5 minutes of doubles with this exercise. So I would take, say the baseball game starts at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock to 7:05, I would do this. Then I would switch to my doubles, which we'll get into that later for one of the next videos, is just right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Make that as your 16th notes. So this worked for both singles and doubles. You do your singles and do your 16th notes as singles, then do your 8th notes as singles and your 16th notes as doubles. Or just do straight doubles, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. And you can do that for however long. Try and do it for, do your singles for 5, doubles for 5, take a 5-minute break, come back to it. Or try and challenge yourself. See how long you can go with this exercise. But this basic exercise I call my single stroke exercise. That's what all my students refer to it as, is just single stroke exercise, depending on the length that you're going to do it. Doesn't make a difference whether you're doing the quarter notes to 8th notes, or you're doing 8th notes to 16ths, or eventually 16th notes to 30 seconds, on and on. Whatever you're doing, whether you're doing 2 bars of 8th notes, 2 bars of 16th notes, or you're doing the, let's see, like 1 measure of quarter notes, 1 measure of 8th notes, or 2 beats, 1 and 2 and of 8th notes, 3 and a 4 and of 16th notes, which equals your 1 measure. It's all the same exercise, but I guarantee if you do this 5 days a week for 15 or 20 minutes, you're going to see a huge difference over the 2 weeks, even 1 week. Set your metronome and find out how fast you can do it. I guarantee if you really focus on it, use the fulcrum like we talked about in the first lesson, it's going to work out for you. I guarantee it. And if not, I'm broke anyway, so I can't give you anything. But I'm going to do a couple more videos, so just check in, and I'll try and label these as like intro, part 1, part 2, blah, blah, blah. But that's it. If you have any questions, at the end of these videos, I'm going to run my email and stuff through, and my MySpace stuff, so you can check stuff out. It's jqabookings@aol.com or myspace.com / or whatever it is, Jon Adams Drums. JONADAMSDRUMS, after the whole myspace.com thing. But I'm going to set up another lesson for you guys.